live here then. Alright. Happy holidays, everybody. Welcome once again to our weekly classic Hearthstone deck spotlight. Our guest tonight is hands down the winningest classic player of all time. He has 55, count them, 55 legend finishes across all three servers, NA, EU, and Asia. He's that's the most of any player in history. Also, 10 top 1 finishes, almost twice that of the next highest person. Also a regular streamer and hosts the most entertaining broadcasts in the classic community. Welcome, Thach. It's good to have you here.
Hey man, how's it going?
It's going great, thanks. So before we get started with the deck, we're going to be talking a little bit about Worgen Warrior today, but I'd like to give our fans a little glimmer of insight into you as a person and kind of your general Hearthstone experience up until this point. So how long have you played Hearthstone?
It's actually my first time playing Hearthstone, really.
Me too. That's funny. Good thing we're on stream explaining how to do this game. Yeah.
But I've been playing it for a while. A little too long. Maybe since it probably started. I think actually started I think when it actually opened.
So you got to play these classic decks in when they were in standard, then.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah, I used to be rank 1 in 2014.
Oh wow! I didn't even know that far back.
Yeah, that far back.
Damn.
You know, when Hearthstone was the craze.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, but then I think that's when Nax hit, and then I think I stopped there.
So
yeah.
Then, more recently, then what got you interested in playing Classic?
It's just easy, man. anyone can really play it. I mean, I'm always chucking random decks. Very cheap decks. You can also play Zoo, or you can play just fresh account decks, and
Right.
you're pretty much sorted actually.
Right, absolutely. You can even have a robot play for you if you want. I've heard that's a thing sometimes.
Yeah, I've seen it happen.
So, as somebody who's achieved the pinnacle of competitive success so many times in Hearthstone, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about something that I think a lot of competitive players experience, and that's ladder anxiety. And ladder anxiety being the feeling that we get when we've hit some sort of high water mark in our competitive career, maybe the top 100, top 50, top 10, and we don't want to ruin it by playing more ladder games. We have anxiety about queuing up. So I'm curious, do you ever suffer from ladder anxiety ever when you're playing in your games?
No, I don't think so. I mean, if you're someone that's reached rank 1 so many times, at some point you'll be like, well, how much higher can I go, right?
Right.
And then that's, I've reached that point where I'm like, I'm basically playing any deck, and I can still get rank 1 if I really tried.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, ladder anxiety, yeah. I've always told other people that you don't have to play. You're a rank 1 player. You do not have to play, and then, they play it, and then they're just down to madness, honestly. But
I've certainly experienced the run from rank 1 all the way backwards to rank 20 in a season. It's a disappointing thing, right? But really, honestly, it's kind of the worst that can happen. As a 10-time rank 1 player, what would you recommend to the players out there who feel anxious about queuing up? Not necessarily the players at rank 1, but players that have hit their kind of high water mark. Maybe it's Diamond, maybe it's somewhere in Legend. What advice would you give to those players who feel a little bit anxious about queuing up?
I would say you should be playing the deck that you enjoy most. I mean, if you're playing a deck that you enjoy the most, technically laddering isn't really the issue.
Right.
It's just more the time that you're having fun.
Right.
Because if you're playing if you're playing a really try hard deck and you're losing, then you kind of feel disappointed because you're losing.
I like that.
Whereas if you play something that's fun, well, you're playing something that's fun and kind of forget about laddering.
Yeah, I really like that approach of just kind of shifting the perspective a little bit, kind of saying the reason that you got in this game in the first place was to have fun, right? Most people don't start up Hearthstone for their first time and think, I have to achieve competitive greatness in this game. They just want to mess around, enjoy themselves, right? And there's really no reason for us to always look at our rank and think ahead of time. Do we have to be Do we have to be focused on that rather than just the fun aspects of it? So I like that. That's a really good answer. All right, let's talk a little bit about this infamous Worgen Warrior deck that you've got. So how did you get interested in Worgen Warrior in the first place? It's an OTK deck. What appealed to you about this deck?
Well, people know me as a Miracle Rogue player. And supposedly, usually when some guy rips out Worgen Warrior, you don't really get the chance to kill him sometimes because he kills you first.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I actually thought that was actually a lot more fun, considering that you have so much more combo cards to play with.
Yeah, I mean, for Rogue, it's like you play Gadget Zan and you play all of your spells out, right? You conceal it and then you play all your spells. But Worgen Warrior, it's like every single turn you're drawing spells, or you're drawing cards, right? You spend a lot more time consistently trying to draw, even on early turns with Worgen Warrior, as opposed to what you would do in Miracle Rogue.
Yeah, pretty much. And also, it feels really bad if you, don't draw the auctioneer.
It really does.
It's a big problem that I've always had. But even if I don't draw my auctioneer, I just get killed by a Worgen Warrior. So that's a lot more fun to get killed by the Worgen Warrior as well.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to dying to a bunch more Worgen Warriors on the ladder after they see this video. I'll tell you that much. Now, there are a lot of bursty decks in Classic that play combos like Leroy, Shadowstep, Cold Blood, Leroy, P.O. Faceless, Leroy, Rockbiter, Wind Fury. What is it about the Classic format that lends itself to these kind of combo finishers?
I would say there's not many answers in terms of like stopping that from occurring. I think it's one of the biggest issues.
Yeah, there's
you can always draw cards and you can't really stop that person.
Right. I suppose there can be decks that are full of taunt minions, but taunt minions probably have worse stats, a worse stat line in general than other minions at that, mana slot. So it's not really reasonable to expect that a deck has like only taunts. I mean, Druid has a lot of taunts, but not that many. And given that there are all these different bursty decks or combo-y decks, how is Worgen Warrior different than some of the other burst combo decks in Classic?
Well, I guess the best way to say it is, if I had to compare it with Miracle Rogue, it kind of has the same structure. You have AoE, you have combo, but the thing is that generally you're able to do things a lot more earlier. So, you have pyros. If you're facing like more aggro-orientated decks, you have more answers. Like, you can have Pyro, you can combo Pyro, you can do Whirlwinds, whereas, like, Miracle Rogue, you can only use Fan and Blade Flurry.
Right.
And you have Backstab on their side, but sometimes, you don't draw those cards and you kind of feel powerless against, like, Zoo.
Right.
One of good examples.
Right. It seems like a lot of the Worgen Warriors kit revolves around being able to clear even boards with like 5 or 6 HP, having AoE board clears for that with Pyro, Commanding Shout, and whatever other spells go with it.
Yeah, and it's more the fact that like I'm actually orientated to kind of cater and equally match with like every deck, and that's why I like it so much.
Yeah, it's got kind of a universal feel to it, from what I've seen. Now, it also a couple notable things here. It does have the only OTK, as far as I know, in Standard or in Classic, from over 30 HP. Are there any other decks that can kill you from 30? I guess maybe Rogue with Prep.
Nah, not really. Other than just being swarmed by minions, that's about it.
Right. Yeah. So potentially, that has the highest amount of damage from hand, which is a nice thing to have going for it. If you're facing somebody as any aggro deck, that it's important to have reach, right? But with this deck, you can play it all from hand. So being able to play essentially 32 points of damage, you can kill somebody that's going to kill your board every single turn. I'm also curious about drawing. Do you feel like this deck on average draws more quickly than other decks in Classic? Does it draw more quickly than, say, Miracle Rogue or Freeze Mage?
I would say on average, usually you're able to draw. So I can imagine that if we'll just say that two of your acolytes don't get any value. It doesn't even draw any cards at all. Generally, you're able to draw every single card in your deck at turn 12. But if things do go well, you can draw every single card by turn 10. So,
which is
I
really
wouldn't say
impressive.
there's any issues in terms of drawing.
Yeah, I mean, it has so many different tools to draw, and we'll take a look at some of these cards here in a second. But it has so many tools to draw, even on the low end of the curve, with cards like Thalnos or Loot Hoarder or Commanding Shout. That's a pretty cheap card, and then you have Acolyte, which can be triggered off Pyro. But let's not get ahead of ourselves too much. I'm gonna pop open the deck here, and we can take a look together and start building this thing. Okay, so I like to build these kind of in order of what is really the most core, what are the core cards, or what's really the core engine. So we got our Raging Worgen here on 3. That's obviously the big one. So talk to us a little bit about this card. Why the choice of Raging Worgen of all the cards to be your combo piece as opposed to Leroy or something else?
Well, like when you really look at it, it basically has win through, so it's technically double damage.
Right.
If these line up, it's technically double damage.
Right.
I've thought about using Leroy because in essence that technically has charge as well. So you're saving one card, but
Right.
doing double damage as a Worgen is pretty sick.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we think about it, as long as we get the Enrage off, that's 4 times 2 damage. That's 8 damage for 3 mana, as opposed to Leroy, which is 6 for 4. So it is a more efficient damage source than Leroy. It's just most decks have a lot of trouble actually activating the Worgen. They don't want to play like Elven Archer or something, and they also don't have a way to give it charge, right? Warrior is the only class that has the ability to give a minion charge, as far as I know.
Pretty much.
Okay, so what else goes in here? We've got the Worgen. What are the combo pieces that we play with the Worgen in order to deal this insane amount of damage to our opponent?
So you need to combine it with Inner Rage and Rampage, and also Charge, the last card.
So we've got this whole package. Now, if we have 10 mana, how much damage are we doing with this?
So if you do have all those 6 cards, it does do 32 damage.
Okay, so 32 to face. Good. It's always good to remember these numbers. Now let's talk a little bit about charge. It's a 3 mana plus 2 attack. That's going to get doubled to 4, so not bad. 3 mana, 4 damage. I noticed in the list that you'd sent me earlier that we had 1 copy of charge. How do you feel about this card? And maybe explain your reasoning. Why 1 copy rather than 2?
Well, like I said, so generally at turn 10, most of the time, so I would say around 90% of the time, you're able to draw all your vital cards by turn 10. So if you have 2 charges in hand, it doesn't really do much.
Right.
You have your second charge, and most of the time, I would say it's a dead card.
Right.
But in essence, if you do have 2 charges, you do double the odds of drawing it, but also, if you really think about it, you have double the odds of drawing, like you have double the odds of having a dead card as well.
Right. So. And a card like Charge can be replaced with something that actually helps the deck perform better. If you know you're going to draw all your cards, instead of drawing 2 copies of Charge, wouldn't you rather just have 1 copy of a card draw and 1 copy of Charge, so it gets you closer and cycles you through the deck, right?
That's correct. But, sometimes Charge is the last card, though, so...
I've also seen some lists with 1 copy, or with 2 copies of Raging Worgen. Obviously, we can't run 0, but how do you feel about running 2 copies of this card to get around maybe things like Vaporize, or, I don't know, maybe having to use it for an early board clear or something like that, early board presence, but still have the combo in hand? How do you feel about those lists with 2 Worgens?
Well, working around Vaporize, so if you're versing a Freeze Mage, generally that's not really an issue. You do try to fatigue the mage instead of trying to kill him. So I would say that playing around Vaporize isn't really something you should be worried about. But using it as early removal, you do have to imagine that, the best case scenario is that it removes 2 minions. You are hitting 2 things at once, but um, if that is at turn 6, so I would rather spend more my mana trying to draw cards instead of removing 2 cards.
Right, and in the meantime, we can gain a lot of armor too, right? We've got a couple cards here that can help us with that. We've got Armorsmith, right? 2 copies of that, and
Yep.
let's see, we've got 2 shield blocks as well to cycle, right?
Yep.
And of course, a couple copies of Whirlwind can never hurt. Those will help us with our Armorsmiths. Now, there are a couple other cards that we don't see in traditional warrior lists that kind of combo with these, with Armorsmith and Acolyte of Pain here as well. What are those other cards that combo with these?
So you do need Cruel Taskmasters. They're really good. Pyromancers are really good.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to stop and talk about these Pyros for just a second here. I've seen lists that run 1 copy of Pyro, and I'm curious, what's our rationale for running 2 copies of the Pyro? What does it do for us?
So it's most of the time, look, it's quite variable. You can use it to cycle with acolytes, and also use it for anti-aggro lists. So, what usually happens for me, I think the best case scenario with the acolyte is at turn 6. You can play your Acolyte, you can play your Pyro, and generally if you have Inner Rage and Execute, it's actually, in theory, that's technically a Blizzard with Execute. And you draw 2 cards with that too.
Yeah, very powerful. And I guess you can keep the Acolyte on the board as well in some of those situations as well. But we have this other card, Commanding Shout, that you've got in there. And I've always really liked the idea behind this card. 2 mana, your minions can't be reduced below 1 health, and you get to cycle a card with it. So tell us a little bit, how do we pull off a combo here? We've got Armorsmith, we've got Wild Pyro, we've got Acolyte, and we've got Commanding Shout. And Whirlwind. How do we make those work together?
So with the things that you mostly verse, so, I would say, generally if you're versing a Miracle Rogue, when you do combo with the Pyromancer, you do have a chance to kill at a Concealed Auctioneer if you do get the right cards.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why I always like using Commanding Shout with Pyromancer. Like, generally, you would try to use Pyromancer with Whirlwinds, Commanding Shout, and Inner Rage. And that actually removes the Auctioneer.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also the fact that if you really think about it with an Armorsmith as well, you can try to gain at least 4 armor if you have those 2 cards being played.
Yeah. And you only have 1 copy of Commanding Shout in your list. What was your reasoning behind that, including 1 rather than 2 copies of this?
It's very conditional. You're not always going to have the 2 cards, but
right.
Personally, from personal experience, I've always not needed to. Usually, like, best case scenario Commanding Shout is either you have a lot of board and you can try to efficiently remove minions using your minions and not dying, or you can use it with Pyromancer. But I would say generally with 2 Commanding Shouts, one of them usually becomes useless, and usually used to cycle.
Yeah, and I mean, in some cases it might be a little bit better than a Loot Hoarder, but even so, it's not a draw card, it's like 2 mana cycle on a stick like Loot Hoarder is. So I could understand that. As far as some of the other things that we've got in our card draw engine, talk to me a little bit about Battle Rage.
Yeah, Battle Rage is pretty cool. Or 1 draw card when it's damaged, or when 1 character is damaged.
So we get some synergy here, right, with like Wild Pyro, Armorsmith, Commanding Shout, and then we also have the opportunity to play Battle Rage as well with all of those minions that can't die on the board. Now, is there any harm in running 2 copies of Battle Rage here?
I would say, yeah, like, Battle Rage is one of those conditional cards. You either use it when you have a lot of minions on board or you don't. But it's typically like Commanding Shout. Sometimes the worst case scenario is that you have nothing on the board and you have to use it. So, if you have 2 of those cards and you have no minions on the board, yeah, generally it's pretty useless
Right.
if you have a second copy.
Um, I kind of like this at the 2 slot. There are 2 cards that are conditional, right? Battle Rage and Commanding Shout. So you have 1 copy of each, and hopefully the situations in which Battle Rage may be not so strong, we have Commanding Shout, and situations in which Commanding Shout might not be too strong, maybe we have Battle Rage instead. Is there any? Is there ever any worry about overdrawing our hand with cards like Battle Rage?
Uh, Personally, I've had no bad experiences with Battle Rage, but best case scenario is that like on average you draw around 4 cards with Battle Rage, but I've never seen myself overdraw with it, unfortunately. So I think 1 copy is actually pretty good.
Awesome. Now we got a couple other cards here that are also in our card draw engine. Cold Light Oracle. I see you playing this card a lot. You must not mind giving your opponent cards too much.
Like Oracle is one of those, I would say, extreme cards. I've actually put these in to actually compete with other classes. So specifically, if you are versing, let's just say Handlock or Freeze Mage, this actually changes the game for you. So, if you don't have this in, it really does make the difference of either you winning or losing. So that's why I put it in.
So this card is mostly targeted toward. Well, obviously it draws you 2 cards, but mostly targeted. You're saying toward decks that already have lots of cards in hand and are waiting to respond to something on the board, and then all of a sudden they get overdrawn, and there goes like, Alex Straza or something like that.
That's correct. But you can also compare it with Acolyte as well. One of the weird things about Acolyte is that you have to use something in order for this card to draw a card, whether it be trading, whether it be using another card, whether it be damaging it. The best value that you can get generally with the Acolyte is around 3 cards, but with the Cold Light, you don't actually have to use anything else other than the Cold Light. You do draw 2 cards straight away, so that's why I like that card.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah, I mean, when I see sometimes, worse control warrior players, they'll play their Whirlwind just to clear the board, or they'll play Acolyte onto an empty board. And I typically think, the best way that we usually want to use those cards is to play like Acolyte and Whirlwind. So all of a sudden, Whirlwind becomes deal 1 damage to all minions and draw a card, essentially Fan of Knives. Is that the same case here, where we kind of want to conserve some of our resources, make sure to use those so that we can trigger this Acolyte when it comes around?
Yeah, pretty much. See, it's like if you do use your Whirlwind generally with the Acolyte, you are wasting 2 cards just for that 1 card draw. Usually the worst case scenario is that you have to Inner Rage Acolyte, which, if you do use your Inner Rage, you're technically losing 4 damage with the Worgen.
Right.
You're losing potential combo with your Pyromancer.
Right.
So that's why, comparing it to the Cold Light, instead of using any of those other cards, you can just play the Cold Light.
And also, one thing that we touched on a little bit before was that it's kind of difficult to stop somebody from pulling off a combo in Classic, right? Is that the damage potential it tends to be lower for most decks, so it's not so easy to kill a combo deck first. So you maybe don't care so much what your opponent is drawing. You're more interested in doing your own thing and finishing off the game that way than you are with, stopping your opponent from drawing cards and winning a resource war.
Yeah, pretty much. Generally, I don't really care. Like, if I play this Cold Light, I don't really care what the other person draws. I just want to know what I draw.
Right. Yeah. It's similar. It's similar in some other decks too, like Aggro Rogue, for example, where we play Cold Light, we Shadow Step it, we play Cold Light, and we don't really care what they get. We're more interested in drawing cards that we can use to kill our opponent than we are with whatever our opponent is drawing. If they were going to get a good card, if they were going to get a good card, they may as well already have it. We got a couple other card draw in the 2 slot here. We've got 1 copy of Loot Hoarder and 1 copy of Thalnos. I assume that it would be normally 2 copies of Loot Hoarder, but you put in Thalnos here. What was the reasoning behind that?
Thanos does help a lot if you have a lot of spell cards. I mean, if you have a Whirlwind, it's basically a Blizzard. You know,
Yeah.
you are doing 2 damage to everything.
Yeah.
So, I would say it's quite uh, variance. Thanos actually works a lot more better against aggro. Lit Hoarder's not too bad, but um, one of the key things of the big difference between the two is that, one of them has 1 damage and the other one has 2. Sometimes Lit Hoarder helps a lot more, considering that you can combo it with your weapon, which is the Fiery War Axe. And, if you really think about it, 1 Lit Hoarder plus 1 Fiery War Axe hit actually kills a Yeti.
Right. Right. Exactly. That one little amount of damage is non-trivial, I would say, with the Loot Hoarder. But at the same time, like you say, being able to pull off a 2-damage Whirlwind, that's clearing cards like Knife Juggler, it's clearing totems, it's clearing a lot of 2-health minions that might otherwise be annoying to deal with. So I can see the rationale for putting putting the single copy of Thalnos in there and splitting that up at the 2 slot.
Yeah, and it also works with Inner Rage, so you do 2 damage Inner Rage. It works with a Slam, I've yet to put it.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it does help quite a bit, There's got to be some moments that, you'll have 1 Loot Hoarder and be like, well, I hope I had spell damage, but I guess I don't.
Yeah. Now you include 1 copy of Slam here. For a deck that likes to draw a lot, I'm curious why you chose 1 copy of Slam.
Slam is another conditional card, I would say. I mean, generally you won't be able to, slam a 2-health minion, but, if that does occur, you're not really drawing a card from that either, so...
Right. Yeah, I think, I can't stress enough that there is a real concern if we use our resources in the improper order, that we actually can run out of cards with a deck that draws so much. As you kind of alluded to earlier, a lot of the combo-y, draw-y sort of stuff in this deck, it synergizes together. It's not really necessarily a deck that plays like Novice Engineer and Loot Hoarder. It's more focused on how can I get like 3 draws off of Acolyte and cycle all of the cards that I'm playing. Does that sound right?
Yeah, but, I do try my best to kind of do things like that, but, sometimes it doesn't happen. But,
Right.
You try your best.
Right. So we got, as far as removal, we've got 2 Fiery War Axes and 2 copies of Execute as well. I think that just makes a lot of sense. Now, what about Shield Slam? How do you feel about that card?
Shield Slam, look, I've tested Shield Slam, well, quite a fair bit. You do have combo cards like Shield Block, Armorsmiths, and just the typical hero power to try to get armor up. But I've always found myself not getting that much value with Shield Slam. I mean, like I said, when you get Shield Block and Shield Slam, that's technically the best way to do it. It is a 4-turn play. You can kill Yetis, you can kill Violet Teachers, but if you have Shield Slam by itself, it's actually quite bad. But one of the things that I always tell people that want to play this deck is that generally you should not hero power, and if you're not hero powering, then you're not getting armor. So if you're using Shield Slam, you're most likely not going to get value with Shield Slam.
Right, and it is a deck that can really gain a lot of armor. I would say almost has higher potential. It does have higher potential, really, than traditional Control Warrior. If we give Control Warrior and Worgen Warrior 10 mana to work with, between Commanding Shout, Pyro, Armorsmith, and Shield Block, we have technically more life gain than those decks. But the question arises, do we actually need this Shield Slam to push through the damage that we need in the end of the game? Is that armor useful for doing damage to our opponent's minions, or is it more useful to just stay alive and play the Worgen combo?
Staying alive isn't really something you should be looking for. Like, if you really wanted to stay alive, you'd be playing Control Warrior, to outlive the other person, but generally this deck doesn't really work that way. You kind of want to try to kill him at 10 to 12. Any longer than that, you might run out of cards to remove minions, unfortunately.
Right. Now you got this guy in here as well. You have 1 copy of Arcanite Reaper, and I'm very curious about it, because I think it's an excellent addition to the deck. It really does help take down some of those final taunt minions that we need to take down. I've seen some people run no copies of this. I've seen some people run 2 copies of Arcanite Reaper in case one gets Harrisoned, or just because they can beat face with it because it does 5 damage, or 10 over 2 turns. What are your thoughts on Arcanite Reaper?
It's a good card. Gives you extra damage. Theoretically 10 damage.
Mm-hmm.
You can also remove minions. You can remove, best case scenario is Yetis, engines, maybe even the Sunwalker if all goes well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with a lot of access to 1 damage pings, whether it's Whirlwind or Inner Rage or any of tiny minions like Thalnos, and obviously the Pyromancer. We have a pretty good way to blink off Divine Shields and actually whack a Sunwalker if we want to with the Arcanite Reaper. Can also sometimes help us. I've seen a lot of situations of you playing this deck where you may have to use a Rampage or something a little bit, one of your resources like an Inner Rage a little bit earlier. And if we just plan on doing 32 damage to face every time with the Worgen, we may just lose games because we're not able to deal with their threats before we create our own. So what I like about Arcanite Reaper is, it's flexible in that sense, is that we're able not only to whack down taunts or minions, but also if we have to use some of our Worgen resources, we can use this to, make up some of the damage. Get 10 to face with Arcanite Reaper, something like that.
Yeah, it definitely gives you an extra edge of doing more damage than required.
From the look of it, actually, 2 extra edges, both kind of bloody too.
Oh my! Oh my!
I'll be here all year, 2023, starting it off right, folks.
Oh God, I'm hurting inside already, man.
I'm sorry. I'm an old man. All right, now there are a couple of things that were added a little bit later on to Hearthstone, where Frothing Berserker and Warsong Commander were used together. Is there ever a situation in which you would consider putting something like Frothing and or Warsong in here to have maybe if we had 2 copies of Charge, for example, have an additional source of bursting our opponent? Or is it more important to just be focused on what we're doing now and try and just draw cards?
They're 2 different play styles. If you have Frothing, it's definitely more mid-range. If you really wanted to combo a Frothing, I would assume it'd be like Warsong Commander, Frothing, maybe chuck in 2 Whirlwinds and hitting his face, or 1 Whirlwind, but...
Yeah, we would need, I think, a lot. Probably need a Pyro or something on board enabled in order to do that. Pyro and Frothing and Warsong is already 8 mana. That's already pretty expensive. We're not able to get our combo off. And Frothing plus Whirlwind isn't going to do quite as much damage when we don't have something like Grim Patron that just continuously, respawns and allows us more and more Whirlwind targets. So I could understand how Frothing doesn't belong in there. I still love this card. I wish it was in the deck.
Yeah, I love it too, especially when it hits my face for 10 damage for some reason. Yeah, only my face for 10 damage. Not their face, not it.
Yeah, good old misdirection. Okay, so cool. We got our list together. Help me out with some of the matchups that we have for this. So let's start off by talking a little bit about control decks. So I would say Control Warrior, Control Paladin, Control Priest, and to some extent Freeze Mage, although Freeze Mage is kind of its own archetype. But how well do we do against control decks normally?
I would say every control deck's okay. Instead of that guy that presses hero power and just gains 2 armor.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently that one's the only problem that it handles. But every other deck, Control Paladin, Priest, you have a pretty good... I would say your odds of winning around 60% of the time. It's not bad. It's pretty good, but... yeah, like in terms of every control deck, like I think it just does quite well. They do have a lot of taunts, they do have a lot of heal, but you do have to remember that if they do not put a taunt, you can back for 32 damage, and they can't out-heal that, so...
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and having played against this deck before, I know the frustration of feeling like, okay, every single turn, when it's like 10 mana, you have to put down a taunt to stop this. But then just execute and Arcanite Reaper, and it's like you're looking at your hand running out of taunt minions to play. At some point that the Worgen just kills you, right, against a priest or something like that, as a priest or something like that. And
yeah, he's coming. He's coming.
He's definitely look at this guy. He's definitely coming.
He's coming.
Yeah, and there just isn't enough value in playing like 28 taunts in a deck in Classic. That's never going to be a successful ladder deck, so we're not too worried about some of the big things that can get in our way with this. I have noticed, though, sometimes there can be frustrations kind of at the end of a match where somebody like rolls a taunt totem and we're out of removal, and we're in this awkward situation where we can't kill a 0/2. We need to play our Worgen. All we have in hand is Worgen. Have you encountered too many situations like that before, where you've got everything, the whole combo in hand, but no way to remove like a little tiny taunt minion?
Yeah, it's definitely happened. I mean, sometimes they roll that 25% totem.
Right.
But one of the cool things about is like the deck is that sometimes you have that one card that can kill the totem, even though it feels like all your cards are running out. Like you can use Pyro with the Worgen as well, because that can initiate Rampage actually. And it can remove the Stoneclaw totem at the same time. So, it's not too bad. There's a lot of ways they can kill the totem.
Right.
You could even double it in a Rager if you really wanted to. But, look, of course there's some moments where it's just like, okay, well, you got that taunt totem, can't really do much, but...
Right, and...
you do have a lot of backup plans to kind of go over it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's really any different than other decks that want to run Leroy in for a finisher, right? If somebody's got a 0/2 taunt, maybe Leroy Shadow Step is something that's a little bit more useful there, but at the same time, that's never going to be able to do 32 damage to somebody's face. What about Freeze Mage? That's an interesting matchup. How do we play that matchup?
Well, there's actually 2 win conditions when you play against Freeze Mage, so generally, if they have their secrets up, you kind of don't want to trigger him. So, because you can possibly give him HP, you can possibly walk into Vaporize, you can, well, not kill him. But, yeah, if you really play it out, you have 2 win conditions. You can either gain a lot of armor, you can use your Armorsmiths, Pyromancers, and Whirlwinds, which, if you really think about it, you can gain around 16 armor in 1 turn, which is pretty cool. Or, if you know that he has no secrets on the board, you can whack him for 28 and leave him at 2 HP. And if you have to Alexstrasza his own face, then that's a good thing. You've saved yourself 15 damage.
Right.
Pretty cool.
Right, exactly. And, so I think normally Control Warrior's plan is just to press the button and armor up every single turn and win. It's not like we can't kind of do the same thing, and like you pointed out, we can gain so much armor with Armorsmith and Commanding Shout and Pyromancer all together that we're just going to be out of range of their spells, right? We just execute the 2 big minions that they play, and that's just game. But also, yeah, being able to hit face with the Worgen and take them down. You mentioned 28 as an important number there when we're playing against their ice block. So probably something that's good to talk about. Do you normally try to pop the block, or are you trying to set them to such a low HP total that we can use like Fiery War Axe to pop their block?
At that point, usually if they're at 2 HP, if they're drawing a lot of cards at the same time, you got your blue Murloc that can technically win you the game. So
that's right.
You can take him out. That's
right.
Pretty cool win condition.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Is like eventually the mage is like accumulating all these card draw things like Arcane Intellect, Novice Engineer, things like that they don't want to play because they know if it goes to fatigue, the warrior wins. So Cold Light Oracle helping to kind of push them in that direction, I suppose you could say, where they're just holding more and more and more cards because all they're drawing is more and more card draw, and then you just give them more cards, or you mulligan, or you burn their Alex or something like that.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, right. um, how about like some of the aggressive decks, like zoo decks, burn decks, face decks? How does this do against those?
It actually does a lot better than control, actually.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, explain that.
one of the one of the key things about aggro is that they're doing a lot of one drops, doing two drops, and just trying to hit your face. But you do have this card called Wild Pyromancer.
Yeah.
That you have a lot of cards that can trigger this for you. In this case, you have around Enrage, you have Executes, you have Whirlwinds. Um, yeah, because if you really think about it, you have 2 damage AoE with this Pyromancer most of the time.
Right.
And if you have a coin, it helps you out. Helps you out stabilize the board, helps you from taking damage. But also you have Armorsmith as well, which you can also combo with.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and not just a 2 damage to the board, but 2 instances of damage as well. So it wipes the bubbles off. Paladin decks don't have any fun against this because Pyro, Coin, Execute kills a big thing and every small thing that ever existed on the board, whether it's got a bubble or not. Knife jugglers, whatever it is. So yeah, very, very powerful card against those aggro decks. What kinds of what kind of matchups does it have against some of these S tier decks like Miracle Rogue and Combo Druid?
I believe Miracle Rogue. I'd say it's pretty subpar. If you had like a numerous amount of games against Miracle Rogue, I'd say it's okay. You do have good, decent chances, but one of the cool things about this deck is the fact that you can actually kill a concealed auctioneer with Pyro, and if your cards, well, if his cards line up as well as your cards, you should be able to get the right answers. You actually have a chance of killing him. So, but one of the cool things about the Worgen Warrior deck against it is the fact that you can actually kill him with Worgen Warrior as well. So, generally that happens at around turn 8. The best that you can do during that time is using Worgen, Charge, 2 Inner Rages, and a Rampage. And theoretically, that's around 26 damage.
Yeah, Rogue's going to be clearing a lot of stuff with their face, right? Little tiny things they're going to want to ping off with their dagger to make it the most efficient. So we expect them to be taking a little bit of damage in the meantime. We've also got Arcanite Reaper is a pretty strong card as well, being able to delay the rogue's game plan by killing Azure Drake if they play it, so we don't have to worry about a big cold-blooded concealed minion, and also just the 10 face damage, right? They don't play any taunt whatsoever, so being able to employ Arcanite Reaper to just whack face twice and do 10 damage, it lowers the requirements of playing Raging Worgen. We may be able to play that without a full combo.
Yeah, usually when you have your weapons, it's pretty sick when you're whacking them in the face.
Yeah, it's all 3 of them, that we have in here. What about Druid? How does this deck tend to fare against Druid? Because it's a deck that plays a lot of taunts, and I would assume that's sort of having an on-demand taunt is one of the best tools that we have to deal with Worgen Warrior.
Yeah, I'll say playing against Druid is one of the worst matchups.
Yeah.
I'd always say that the worst thing you could possibly do to the Worgen Warrior is just make him not draw cards. And they do have this card called Keep of the Grove, and it can silence your minion. So
yeah,
that's one issue. They also have taunts, which is another issue. But the cool thing about this deck is the fact that you still have good answers like Arcanite Reaper and your weapons, which really do help you out with removing taunts, but when things don't line up, unfortunately you have to waste a lot of your cards, and it doesn't work out in the end sometimes, unfortunately.
Right, the clock can start pretty early against Druid as well, where they innervate out a Yeti, and our responses to it, unless we have like Slam, Execute, aren't really too good, right? And we find ourselves having to use a lot of our things that we would ideally like to just wait for a turn and start use it for a cycle, use Whirlwind to cycle. Instead, we feel obligated to like remove those kind of beefy Druid minions one at a time, because otherwise they just keep hitting us for like 4 to 5 damage to the face.
Yeah, no one likes taking 5 damage to the face.
No, nobody. Especially not from an Arcanite Reaper, for sure. Okay, so what about, and you've already mentioned a little bit about Handlock. That's the one last deck here I've got on my list. Do you feel like this is a pretty favorable, that's a pretty favorable matchup for Worgen Warrior?
I think it's okay, but you know, sometimes you don't draw Cold Light, you know, minus that. But I think you have a decent chance. It's not too bad. You do have executes to handle their minions if things do start becoming big on the board. But look, I've actually had good chances against Handlock. I've actually milled their cards. I've executed their giants. It's actually pretty cool. But the cool thing about Worgen Warrior as well is the fact that they're always tapping as well. So generally, you don't need that many of your combo cards, which is pretty cool.
Right. Yeah. The Cold Light I would expect is especially clutch in that matchup. Just having them always kind of worry about their hand size, and when a handlock can't be sitting at 9 or 10 cards all the time, it means now Mountain Giant isn't so strong. It's going to cost more than 3 mana. Twilight Drake, kind of the same deal. You don't want to be playing like a 4/5 or a 4/6 Twilight Drake, because that Drake can actually be cleared by things like Arcanite Reaper or by combos with Wild Pyro as well. Are there...
Yeah, you can block combos.
Yeah. Are there any other cards, before we play a couple of games with this, any other cards that you'd mention as notable tech choices or things that you've tried that other people may have tried that you don't think are so good?
Yeah, like, you know, you can always chuck in 2 Wargans, you can chuck in 2 charges, but, you know, I've always said that, you know, once you have 2 charges in hand, it kind of feels really bad. But
right.
you know, there are variations. You can either have another Battle Rage, you can replace your Loot Hoarders, you can replace your Thalnos, or Battle Rage or Commanding Shout, but I don't know, I just had a good win rate against most decks with this deck. I'm pretty happy with it. So yeah, I'm always happy for people to change it, but yeah, this is just my rendition of it, and yeah, hopefully it works out for you.
Yeah, I really like how it's more of a purist approach to it. I think that in general, having multiple copies of cards that we only need one of for a combo, usually that can just be replaced by more card draw, right? Because we can only use charge at the very end of the game for the most part to win. And so we would rather not draw 2 copies, like you say, but also, you know, any card draw that we put in there instead of charge, like let's say, you know, Slam or something, that's a card that we can play at any time. And we don't have to wait until turn 10 in order to play Slam. We can play it earlier on. So always something that's useful in the hand as opposed to something that may not end up being so useful. Okay, so what do you say? You want to play a couple of games with this?
Yeah, sure, man.
See how it goes on the ladder. I'm happy to observe you, or we can play on my account. Which one would you prefer?
Well, what rank are you?
You're gonna have to call the shots for us either way. I am number 22 right now. You think we'll get any good games there, or would you prefer to play on yours?
Oh, actually not boosting. Play on your one. Why not? We can play on your one.
Okay.
If you're really uncomfortable, I can play on my one too. But you know.
You're the one calling all the shots, so you'll have to tell me exactly what we're supposed to do here.
Oh.
I'm like.
Gotta be a ping issue. Ping issue.
No. I know that there are sometimes turns that take a lot of APM, so maybe let me know ahead of time so I don't mess it up.
All right, you can farm this guy easy.
All right, perfect. Is this a hand lock or is this a zoo lock?
I don't know, but either way, he's gonna lose because this guy named Opposition is gonna win anyway.
Oh, I love it. I got my own cheering section here. This is great. What do you think about what do we keep from this opening hand? I assume not shield block.
Yeah, don't keep shield block. Slam is okay. I would personally take out Commanding Shout.
Yeah, if we had a Pyro in our opening hand, would you feel like Commanding Shout is good or still no?
It's actually very good, but I don't even know if it's handlock or not. So that's also something that you should be considering about because you can't always predict everyone to be zoo.
Right, right.
I usually like mulligan half and half, half control, half aggro. So
You
I think this is okay.
Okay, cool. Whirlwind's a good keep.
Yeah, Whirlwind's definitely a good keep.
Okay,
I
great.
get minions pretty sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, see if he's handlock, huh?
Yeah, this seems like a pretty versatile hand. We've got execute and slam, so anything big that comes down. That was a pretty quick
no.
pass. I'm guessing it's handlock.
Yes.
All right. No coin Armorsmith, right? We're not a bot.
No coin.
Yeah, I think, like Miracle, a lot of times the coin is a resource for us. Anytime we're running Wild Pyro in our deck, it's natural to keep that coin in our hand. I usually like to keep Armorsmith in my hand. What's your take on that?
So if you're ever playing this deck, try to never hero power. That is a key rule. Try not to hero power.
Okay, so no gaining 2 armor. You say just play out the Armorsmith right now?
Yes.
All right.
So try and remove that hero power button. That doesn't exist.
Right.
Does not exist.
I don't know if I can do it. After playing so many games of Warrior, I've come to love this button. I'm sure a lot of other people who've played Warlock or Warrior probably feel the same way.
Yeah. But yeah. Generally as a World War player, I never want to hero power. It's actually really bad, but
so then
I think
is this a turn where we have to hero power, or do we have something that we can do here?
Yeah, I'll hero power. Unfortunately.
Okay.
This is a rule. This is an outlier. This is an outlier right now.
I could have just ended the turn with 3 mana. I think that's probably okay too.
Oh, that's definitely okay too.
Yeah.
Very reasonable.
Yeah.
Very reasonable.
Well, I mean, honestly, with cards like Battle Rage, sometimes it can be an asset to, keep ourselves without armor. If we build up too much armor, then we may not be able to, cycle an extra card with Battle Rage. Alright, I have a feeling it's going to be something to do with this Execute card. Do we want to use that resource right now on the Drake, or would you say we save it for a Giant?
So even if you're trying to save it for a Giant or a Drake, doesn't really matter. At least removing a minion's actually top priority, so either one doesn't really matter as long as you kill it. But you do have this card called the Acolyte.
So you think an Acolyte, Whirlwind, Execute?
Yes, that is a very strong play.
All right.
Very, very strong.
Yeah, I like it.
Because if you really think about it, what do you got to do next turn, right?
It's going to be, Hellfire or...
What can you possibly do with 5 mana this turn? What can you possibly do?
With 9 cards in hand, tap and play Mountain Giant.
You also have a very good 5 mana card.
Yeah, this one is pretty sweet. I really do like this. In fact, even in just conventional Control Warrior, I feel like it has a place as well. Alright, so hero power first, right?
Oh man. Oh man.
A quick study here. Do you feel like we cycle the slam here?
Personally, I would actually Rampage my Acolyte.
Alright, let's get this bad motherfucker going. What else should we do with him? Do we bump into the Twilight Drake, or are we going face?
I would bump it to the Twilight Drake.
Alright, cool.
Drawing cards is actually very top priority right now, but...
Okay.
Oh lord almighty. You have a very crooked hand. Very, very crooked.
Yeah, you're right.
I would actually axe and whack the Twilight Drake.
Just straight to the dome?
Yep.
Alright. I assume face with this little gal?
Yeah. So, one of the things about warrior weapons is that you can only hit once every turn. If you theoretically know that you have 3 weapons in your hands, how many turns is it going to take for you to use all those 6 weapon hits? Oh,
right.
actually, I just answered. It takes 6
Wait,
weapon turns.
let me work out the math on this one. Hold on.
6 weapon hits. So it means that it needs to take 6 turns to use all your weapon.
That's a really good way of thinking about it.
So if you really think about it now, you can use all your weapon hits at turn 11. That is very, very far. Very far.
Yeah. Now, explain to me the choice to whack the Twilight Drake there. Obviously, we don't want to put them in Molten range, but he's at 23. I could maybe get, we could maybe get a little bit more mileage out of hitting face in some situations, or is that just, or are we like really focused on controlling the board at this point?
We're really focused on controlling the board at this point.
Okay. It
Like
also
I
makes
said-
it awkward for Hellfire too, right?
Oh, that too. Hey, I actually didn't think about that. Oh my.
That's
This guy's thinking ahead.
five head plays. All right. Well, that's not the worst thing that we could see.
Surely doesn't draw the giant, right?
Good news for us. All right.
Alright.
Think you whack this thing down with our weapon?
Yeah, it actually sounds pretty good. Personally, so try to do card draw first. So, with the things that you have in hand, I'd like to try to get value with the Acolyte. So, just playing the Acolyte and not getting something out of it might be really risky, as you do have the potential to not draw from it. So, personally, I would Thalnos and slam the Ancient Watcher.
I like that idea.
Oh, you have that card.
Hey, how's it going, little guy? Do you feel like removing the Drake or removing the Watcher with our weapon?
I would actually remove the... Actually quite rough.
That's a tough choice. Huh?
Yeah, I would remove the Drake here. And Hero Power.
You sure?
Yep.
All right. I'll press the button.
So-
No, we're at 98, so I guess, or 29, so it's okay.
It's really cool though that if you have damage on your hero, you can actually get value from Battle Rage.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now we're free to hero power for the rest of the game if we want. Now that we're just take that one
Now you
little
can Hero
HP.
Power.
Yeah.
The rules are out the window now.
Yeah,
You can Hero Power now.
We're going crazy, folks. All right. Don't know if we mind that card too much.
What do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Oh god, I have no idea. I mean, we have Cold Light. We got, we don't have to spend any mana to draw a card with Thalnos by trading it in.
Yeah, you can have some good board. So, what's that one card? If you draw that one card, what card do you need to kill him?
I think that one is Charge, last I checked, right?
Yeah,
So-
possibly you can draw it in the next 3 cards.
3, 6, 8, so okay. Alright.
Oh,
You think trade with Thalnos first?
Yeah, trade with Thalnos.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
reds.
I'm gonna go into Sylvanas there. Okay, cool.
Oh
That's
my
good.
God.
That's good.
I would personally execute that.
You don't want to Cold Light first? Oh, okay, yeah, execute first. Sure.
We
Alright.
love melee people.
Oh, yeah. More cards
that's
that draw
really
more
good.
cards. This
Yeah,
seems
should block
reasonable.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Should block very much.
Okay.
Oh my God, he drew it.
And
Oh.
we did it. Oh my god. And a Defender of Argus down as well. Not a position I think that a warrior wants to be, or a warlock wants to
One
be in.
rag. One rag. I know what's going on. Oh, there you go.
Alright.
Oh, what a shame.
Hey, big
Huh.
guy. Oh
What
my
a
god.
shame.
This little Murloc just did so much work. Alright.
You know what to do.
Barely.
Now.
Alright, this is the fun part of it, right?
Yeah, this is illegal.
This is illegal. I'm gonna get busted by the Hearthstone cops. Alright, that was really successful. That was awesome.
We gotta emote the guy for. Oh my God, he's climbing.
Oh my god, rank 1 incoming. Yeah, this was actually my 14-hour rank 1 stream. Although it doesn't seem like it's going to take very long with this deck.
Yeah, you gotta get there so fast by the end of today, man. Easy peasy.
I don't think I
And
faced a
whenever
lot
you
of druids
think
today.
Yeah.
That's good news, right?
Well, oh, sorry.
If there are no if I haven't faced any druids, that's good news.
But it's very good news.
Yeah.
I'll queue at the same time so that you don't have to verse any druids. I'll verse it for you.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Oh hell. That's like fighting my dad in Hearthstone. I don't wanna hurt this guy.
You know what to do.
Do you keep Acolyte in your opener against Shaman? I know it can be kind of weak against things like Earthshock. We obviously have to get value out of our Acolyte ahead of time.
Keeping one Acolyte's okay. Keeping two is really greedy, considering that you might not combo with it.
Right.
I'll keep one at least.
Any situations in which you like keeping Execute, or are we just looking for card draw here?
Yeah, so usually with your top priority, you should try to be aiming for your 2-drops.
Mm-hmm.
You got your Axes, you got your Lit Hoarders, you got your Thalnos, you got your Armorsmiths.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of the cool things about this deck is that board control is actually really cool. Even though it does 1 damage, it's
well, we
pretty
can.
cool.
Yeah, we can have such big swings, right, with the boards with this deck as well, where we can play Commanding Shout and deal like 5 or 6 AoE damage to the opponent's board, and still come out with minions after that too. Oh hell, she's here. Any situations in which you consider holding on to Thalnos in the event of needing to like Thalnos Whirlwind off a bunch of totems, or do we not care?
We don't care.
Okay.
Card draw is usually top prior. Like, when you do look at your hand right now, you technically have a Whirlwind in your hand. You have a Pyromancer and you have 1 Inner Ray.
Right.
It's technically a Whirlwind. But you can still be aggro. It's very rare.
You like firing this little guy off? Or you feel like a more conservative approach with shield block is better?
So if you had to choose between the two, I would personally choose the Murloc.
It does contest the board, right?
Yeah, look, he does have to answer it. As bad as it may seem that he's drawing cards, but
It's okay.
it's
He's not drawing Stoneclaw totems, right? So
surely.
it's also a little bit hard for a shaman, when they're overloaded to be drawing cards. Or to be playing
He's drawing
cards.
more cards anyway.
Right to the
And
face.
shaman.
Ow. It's gotta be, maybe it is Burn Shaman. Okay. We've got some of our tools. Do you ever consider, like, using the Pyro now? Or should we keep that in hand?
We should definitely keep that in the hands.
Okay.
So, from the way that he's playing, he just lightning bolted your face. He's mostly likely trying to kill you. I would assume, because he has 4 mana left, quite possibly... Oh, 3 mana.
Yeah, 3.
He might actually roll next turn. So, man, he had the mad audacity to coin lightning bolt your face.
Yeah. Yeah. What
So,
did I
You
do?
have 4 cards right now. So, you can do... You can technically draw 1 card somehow. How can you do it? Using your will. How can you do it?
Well, we can do this one. You feel like trotting out the first Acolyte?
Oh, yeah.
All
That's
right.
really good.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, amazing. Do we care about killing the Manatide here?
Yeah, killing the Mad Tide's okay. Look, he's not going to get much value with Storm of Air Totem, unless he has Earth Shock.
Right.
But,
Not to jinx it or anything.
unless he has Earth Shock. But,
Alright, 1 Earthshock down. So far, so good. Ooh.
what do you want to do?
Well, setting up Arcanite is nice. But, he's at 30. I'm not sure that that's really pushing the needle for us too much right now. Shield Block is another option, but if we play Shield Block, we don't really have anything else to do in the turn other than, like, Rampage this dude, which I assume is not good.
So, for me, personally, I like setting up my weapons. One of the things that I'm thinking about now is that because you have a Pyro in your hands, you are hoping for him to play a lot of minions on the board.
Right.
Because you do have Pyro, Inner Rage, and Execute, which is technically 2 damage AoE in your board.
Yeah.
So I would want to wait. So I like setting up my weapon.
Yeah. And like
But
you're... And you think swing face with it, or...
I would hold it. Hold this weapon.
How about this little dude?
I'll kill the Killing Totem.
Yeah. Alright, let's see the Harrison Jones.
Well, he doesn't have coin.
Okay. Now, how greedy do you think we can get here with holding on to our Pyro? You feel like this is the kind of thing that we could hold, like, continue to hold on to, or are you feeling more like Pyro Slam this turn?
Personally, I wouldn't use that just yet. I'd like to try to get as much value as I can with the Acolyte. So if you're not going to do that, try to look at the other cards instead. So, you know, you have a Loot Hoarder, you have Slam, you have Shield Block, but I would actually slam the Wolf.
See what we get. Alright.
Oh.
The combo is assembling.
I would actually Loot Hoarder here.
Yeah, I think the Loot Hoarder makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's a card that's not going to get much more value as we go on. We've already seen one Earth Shock. We don't really want to wait for our opponent to draw the next one.
And trading with the weapon is definitely cool.
Yeah, it's a taunt, right? We gotta kill it.
Yeah, we definitely kill it. It's not gonna play Argus, right?
Oh, surely not.
My God. That's cheating.
Yeah. Is this how he got rank 1 last season? Oh, okay, that's a good card. Do you feel like we can still play this waiting game here and play something like Shield Block? We could play double Shield Block.
You can definitely wait it out.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
He does only have 4 damage in the hand. He's not going to kill you anytime soon.
Yeah. Okay, let's try the first one, see what we get. Okay, we got an Armorsmith. This is looking better and better. So now we've got 2, 4, 7 plus Whirlwind is 8 mana, and that's going to draw us a shitload of cards and get us a shitload of armor. So I'm thinking just the second Shield Block here makes sense, right?
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay, cool. Let's do it. Alright, talking about that timer here, do we... I mean, we're planning to clear this with AoE anyway. You think just hold on to the weapon for right now?
Well, it's got 7 mana left. I would... Oh, this is a very hard thing. Yeah, I'll pass. Pass no.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna kill these things anyway, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we are.
That's a juicy board.
Oh my God.
Alright.
Actually, not too bad.
Okay. So, let's see, how do we do this? Do we want to use our Inner Rage in order to help us clear this board, I guess is the question. And do we want to commit Armorsmith right now to do it too? Because we can play Pyro, Acolyte, and Armorsmith and Whirlwind. That's our whole turn. And that doesn't quite clear the board, right? We'd need to commit Inner Rage to that as well.
Oh, actually made a difference. Yeah, so personally I wouldn't even use the Pyromancer here.
Okay.
You can do it halfway, so technically I would first Acolyte, Whirlwind. No, it's actually not too bad as well.
Ooh, yeah. You feel like playing this little dude?
Nah, not yet. I would actually play the Armorsmith and Taskmaster. Gotta give him a good reason to Lightning Storm here. I'll play the Healing Totem as well.
Yeah.
Reason being that it's really rough, but you're trying to make him use mana here, which is most likely the Lightning Storm here.
Right.
But you do gain 3 armor out of that.
Mm-hmm. And a card draw. We got 3 draws off this Acolyte, which I can't imagine is ever bad.
Oh, hey, look, you got that card.
Alright. Well, that's actually, I think, okay for us, right? Because we're happy to see more... We're happy to see all the Spirit Wolves come out early on.
Alright, so what do you want to do?
Well,
a lot of options.
I reckon at this point, well, we can't play Cold Light, right? So we kind of have to play the Pyro, I imagine. That sound right?
Yeah, it sounds really good.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, the other option is just to play, like, War Axe and start taking these things down. But let's say we start with this. Command.
Yeah, go for it.
Shout first. Okay, let's try it. Shouting.
Yeah, sure.
Currently shouting.
Okay. You can do the turn. What else do you want to do? You know, you have to do 2 spells. So careful now. You have to do 2 spells.
We can get 2 spells out, right? We can play Armorsmith, execute Battle Rage.
So personally, I would even use the Armorsmith.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to use this weapon.
Okay.
I think if you had the choice between the 2, I'll try to use my weapon.
Okay.
Try to use the weapon.
So let's say Battle Rage first.
Alright.
Alright, cool. We've got 2 copies of Execute, so I feel like we can execute one of these, right?
Yep.
Alright. Let's do it.
I'll use weapon and back to state.
Alright, cool.
So
Wow.
yeah, like I said, you have to remember how many axe turns you have. Considering that you have 2 axes, so it's going to take you 4 turns to use those 4 axes.
Right. I don't know if we're going to make it that far in this game. We're already at 10 mana. We're through 3 of our 6 weapon charges. Alright.
Oh, that charges might actually be last card. How many
Yeah.
cards do you have left in your deck?
That's not too bad that it's like our last card, right?
Oh, how many cards do you have in your deck?
3. We got 3 remaining, and we've got Rampage, Wild Pyro, and Charge left. I feel like committing the Murloc here just makes sense, right?
Yeah, so if you play this Murloc, you're technically going to draw all your cards
Yeah.
by next turn.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, that's really sweet. That's turn 10. Alright, I mean, I like the idea of executing this thing this turn. That makes sense, right?
Yep.
Execute.
Oh, do not hit. No, don't hit, no!
Oh, shit.
No! Oh, no! Oh, no.
They should never put me in charge of anything.
Alright, so what are you going to do instead now?
Well, can't we just execute the damn thing?
Well, now you have to execute it.
What the hell were you gonna kill it with?
Do it. Alright, so I would play my... Oh, I was actually going to play cool Taskmaster first. Play Armorsmith and play Pyro and Axe. Armorsmith and Pyro.
Right now?
So this is your last turn. This is technically the last turn to kill him.
Alright, big money, big money. Come on, Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. No taunt, no taunt.
Oh my lord, he actually just whacked it with the face. Oh my god. Oh my lord.
I went right, you know, you give me an axe and there's only one thing I know how to do with it. And that's definitely to go forward.
Fine, man. He's not gonna kill you next turn anyway. But you're not gonna kill him next turn, surely.
No. I'm sure Remix has no idea what's coming for him.
Yeah. I mean, you're just control warrior at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that wasn't a Stoneclaw totem. We've seen 2 Feral Spirits. We've seen 1 Sen'jin. I'm not sure what else there is to taunt in this deck. Alakir? That's already off the table.
He's got Innovate.
Yeah, son of a bitch. They're giving it to shamans nowadays. Okay, so it's going to be Lightning Storm.
Storm and Hex, maybe?
Yeah, you're right. It might be a Hex on them. So. But that doesn't even matter, right? We don't care.
What a shame.
We don't care.
Shame. A shame.
Alright, I think I can pull this one off. So you play the Worgen first, and then we're going to give it charge? Hell yeah. Okay. Alright, let's give it a little boosterino.
Getting a little too big there.
Whoa. Holy shit, look at this guy. 16-7. Oh my god. Wow. Well, you were right. We drew through our entire deck by turn 10. Technically turn 11, but...
Hmm. Yeah, so on average, like, just with the summary of the deck, you know, you definitely draw your cards maybe by 10, 11, 12. And he did even Earthshock your Acolyte. So,
Yeah.
you know, he sort of stopped it in some way, but... yeah, see, so if you theoretically say that Acolyte can still draw, you would have drawn all your cards by turn 10.
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Oh, no.
Alright, Druid. Now, I know this is a shit matchup for us. What kinds of cards can we, like, ideally... What are the cards that can actually help us win this match?
So you need your loot hoarders, you need your axes, but technically with the 2 cards that you have there, I'll definitely keep it.
You keep these 2 together?
I'll keep Acolyte, and I'll keep the Murloc.
Okay. But not Commanding Shout, I assume.
Not any shot.
Yeah.
You know, if you had the 2 choices of Acolyte and Murloc in your hands, like in your starting hands, try to always play your Murloc first.
Interesting. Why is that?
Because there is a situation of him silencing it. So, like,
yeah.
this is the situation, but
Mhm.
basically,
Mhm.
if you think he has silence, you know, if you play the Acolyte, you basically draw 0 cards, whereas the Murloc, you actually draw cards.
Right, and wasting
That's
3 mana
different.
against a Druid is probably pretty bad.
Mm,
Okay, so you told me
very
not to hero power, right? So I'm just bringing this Armorsmith out.
yeah, slam it down, brother.
Awesome. All right, cool. It's my first day playing, so I appreciate all the help.
Oh, it's actually first day playing for me too.
That's cool. We're learning how to play Hearthstone together. That's just
Oh
neat.
yeah.
All right. Even gonna go for the 3-point Wrath. It's interesting.
Uh,
We didn't see Wild Growth. Is a consideration here ever that we're trying to play around, you know, a potentially bad Druid hand? They mulliganed 2 of their cards, kept 1. What do you think?
I really like it. So if they don't play Wild Growth, I think that's even a better sign to play Murloc, considering that if they draw Wild Growth after, they'll most likely not play any minions.
Yeah, turn 3 is a difficult turn to do that. All right, let's give it a shot. Get in there, little guy.
You don't like drawing your axes.
Yeah, that's pretty common when I play Warrior. There we go. Hey.
That's cheating.
Do you like clearing the board against the Druid, or are we going face?
I'll definitely. Oh, you can actually. I'll actually rampage for this.
Oh.
It's very. So this is one of those games that I'll really have to think about this. Even though it's 10-4. But give me a second. You can Acolyte it. I would Rampage and trade. Oh, this is so confusing, but
Well, we've seen
yeah.
one.
But I always say that one of the weird things about Rampage is that you might not get a lot of value after. I mean, you know, generally you're keeping the Rampage for the Worgen, but
Right.
so it actually might be stuck in your hand. So that's why I like using it this time. But not hitting is correct, so I wouldn't hit. Not yet.
But I've got this big ass axe, and I'm not sure who to use it on. And Malfurion's right in front of me. Okay,
Oh,
so
God.
it's the second keeper. I wouldn't expect normally a keeper. Well, I guess you can choose to hold the keeper. Loot Hoarder, we have shield block first. Maybe that seems proper.
I would personally Acolyte from Taskmaster.
Okay.
Oh my god.
I assume you Cruel Taskmaster this thing.
Yeah.
Well, he's got no silence left, so at least we're set up there. Is there ever a situation in which you try and use this weapon charge to swing into the keeper here, or?
I don't. So the way I see it is that I don't really care about that anymore.
Right.
I would ignore it.
Right, but there's also the
I would not
option.
hit the face though. I would not gonna be that Taskmaster.
You can tell what kinds of decks I typically play, where the equipped weapon is usually getting sent to the face.
You need to slow down.
Alright.
No!
The
Oh my
punish.
god, the worst card. Execute. Too bad.
Yeah, we don't have an activator for that. Although we've got a face. It doesn't feel great. Would rather play something like maybe Whirlwind to do that.
I'll actually cruel Taskmaster and execute it.
Sure. And then you like a Loot Hoarder and the Armorsmith with it?
You'd have enough mana for that.
We're doing it.
So I would Armorsmith. I'll trade with it.
Okay.
So don't try. I'd say like between choosing your minion and using your face, try not to use your minions to hit trade. Try not to use them.
Yeah, I think that's good.
But things are a bit tricky here. I mean, surely it doesn't have Thalnos swipe.
No, that would do too much damage. It could just be. Oh, holy hell!
Oh my lord!
Hey, look at this bad motherfucker. 8/8 with taunt. Holy hell!
You are in deep trouble. Deep trouble.
Yeah.
Mm.
I would assume we start off trying to draw the most cards that we can, right?
Yeah, go for it.
Because we're gonna need an execute. Yeah, we like badly. Yeah, definitely draw execute.
I ain't finished. That's not too bad.
You think try it out this turn?
Yeah.
Okay, Thalnos not the worst.
Yeah, go for it. Start trading.
Yeah.
So, I would say you're in deep trouble. But,
yeah, I get that a lot.
You can have that card called Swipe, but, you know, I guess you have to play against it. But I'll definitely leave it again.
Yeah. We're looking for, I would assume we're going to need an execute. We probably need, like, Charge and Raging Worgen and Rampage and all of those cards that we kind of need to win the game, too. Holy shit, he does have Swipe. Oh my god.
Oh no.
Well, at least we don't see any minions on.
Oh my god.
Blizzard, please.
First of all, I would do... I'll do Shibboleth.
Okay.
But you have to remember that you use one Rampage. So
Right.
that's technically 6 damage gone.
And we also have used both our Cruel Taskmasters, so we can't make any more of that come back. So are you thinking Arcanite to the face?
Yeah, Arcanite to the face.
Alright. See, now we're on the same page.
Yeah, so now because you have Fiery War Axe in your hands, you have to remember that that's going to take 4 turns to use all your axes.
Christ.
And, you know, theoretically that's 12.
Yeah, where's my Wind Fury? I want that's what I want. It's Wind Fury.
Oh god almighty.
These goddamn ancients. Been a while since I've seen Ironbark. Yeah, I mean, on the plus side, it's just 1 minion per turn, right? It's not like serious threats. It's only 5 damage. I mean, I like Slam here. It's also possible to play Thalnos first. Do you feel like we're actually looking?
Definitely good play. Definitely good.
Okay.
I mean, you gotta draw that execute right now.
Right. Okay. Well, there was my first shot at it. That was a practice. That was warm up.
I'll stop there. You can clear it though. It's not too bad. Well, not too bad. You're running out of resources, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, let's give it a shot. We'll draw execute next turn. Don't worry.
How many cards do you have in your deck left?
We got 6 cards left. We've got Inner Rage, Execute, Whirlwind, Pyro, Acolyte, and Charge.
So if you really think about it, Acolyte is your best draw. If you get it. You have a 1 in 6 chance to draw it. 1 in 6.
That's not so bad.
Not so bad, he says.
Better than my odds with, you know... I won't say it.
Oh,
Alright.
God.
Damn, that's a big-ass bear. Now, there's the possibility of just taking it down over 2 turns with Fiery War Axe, right?
Sounds pretty good.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait, what do you have? You have Acolyte. Do you have a Murloc?
I don't. I have Inner Rage, Execute, Wild Pyro, Acolyte, and Charge. Is there ever a situation where we Battle Rage here?
Oh, I'm thinking about it. Not yet.
Okay.
Don't do it yet. But
Okay.
I'll just hit his face and go power.
Yeah, sure.
You're in a very, very tricky situation now. Very, very tricky.
Yeah, especially if another one of these Ironbark Protectors comes down on the board.
If you draw charge, you actually win. If
Do
you
we?
draw charge.
Three. What is that? 4, 7, 9,
But he might kill himself here.
11. Oh, yeah?
Oh,
Who does this?
not too bad.
Who does this? Okay, so I feel like we've got to play the Pyro, right?
Ah! Stop! Stop! So, one of the cool things about this is that you have to do the order correctly.
Okay.
Okay? So, what do you think the best order is?
Oh, hell, you're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
I mean, we can Whirlwind. The problem is okay, if we play Pyro and then Whirlwind, then we clear our own Pyro. So Whirlwind first, then Pyro, Execute, Battle Rage, right?
Yeah, that's my thinking about it.
Okay. I think that's right.
I hope that you draw a Knuckle. Oh, wait, you need to draw yet. You're still in big trouble though.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. So let's.
Alright.
Stop. Stop.
Oh, alright. Acolyte?
Stop. Did you have Pyro last card?
Pyro and Charge are the last two.
Pyro and Charge.
Yeah.
I'll play Acolyte. I think you actually kill him.
Okay. And not swing it?
Do not hit. Don't hit. Do not hit.
Wow.
Do not hit.
You
Don't
have
hit
the
that.
biggest
Do
balls of any Hearthstone player I've ever met.
not.
Not hitting down a 5-2. That's madness.
Oh, wait a minute. He's going to heal it. Fuck!
Yeah. I mean, just...
You have to play Ancient of Law and Sunfruit to beat you here. Surely he doesn't have those two cards, right?
No. Not those two. I mean, do we... How do we kill against Ancient... Oh, wow. Nice.
Oh, he's got a boss.
Oh, son of a bitch. What is this?
God damn it. Nah, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, really big trouble.
Oh my god.
Next draw is going to fatigue us for 1.
I think it's pretty over. Well, he can pass through. It's a bit rough though, but...
Let's,
yeah.
Sure.
Kind of have to do it, but unfortunate.
Yeah.
I don't think it's alive anymore. No. Nah, doesn't work.
No.
Oh my god. Innovate OP.
Yeah, if the face plays
some
taunt.
some guy likes to play taunts, huh?
Yeah. I guess so.
Actually, Jake kept.
That was a lot of high HP taunty minions. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, one of the sad things that happened was the fact that you drew charge very late. If he actually drew it a turn earlier, I think he would have killed him.
Yeah, having that buried in as the last card in the deck, you'd mentioned that's kind of sometimes really frustrating. I can kind of see where you're coming from there.
Oh yeah, very frustrating. Very, very frustrating.
Yeah.
I mean, it always happens to me, surprisingly.
Yeah, but you managed to win with the deck anyway, even though it's buried at the bottom, is what you're saying, right?
Nah. yeah, no. The thing is, like, you definitely do draw. Well, let's see what happened. Possibly, could you have drawn better? Like, theoretically, you kind of drew the best you could with that hand you had. See, like, one of the things I like talking about is the fact that, if you kept your Rampage, I think that would personally made it a dead card. Like, you would have been holding it for the rest of the game, unfortunately.
Yeah, and even in the end there, I mean, we can take down Ysera like, let's say we have Rampage still in hand, we could take down Ysera, and we could hit face once with the Worgen, and then it's just going to be cleared next turn for, like, 1 damage, right? So it doesn't really do much. I have a feeling there were some healing touches in that deck as well. It looked like full-on Control Druid there. Alright.
Who would do such a thing?
Yeah, I know.
Who would play Iron Bark Tree against the Worgen Hoarder?
Yeah, what the hell? Let's say if we were that close to winning, and that was our ultimate nemesis deck, I think that's really not so bad, right?
Actually, not too bad.
Alright, am I getting the hang of this now? We keep Loot Hoarder and maybe ditch Thalnos, or do you think we still keep Thalnos anyway?
I'll personally keep the whole thing.
Okay.
Personally.
Even Inner Rage?
Yep, so just in case if he's aggro, you know, it will slow him down if you keep it.
Sure.
It's not too bad to keep one. Too bad.
Yeah, I mean, you know, 0 mana cards are always going to have some effectiveness, right?
Oh god, Drew Rampage.
Do you ever use your coin here, or do you always save it for the Wild Pyro?
I would keep it, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say maybe especially against Shaman when we're thinking like Earth Shock can come down and just hit either one of these on turn 1. It's kind of annoying. Do we play him out anyway?
Yeah, we play him out, bro.
Alright.
You did draw your 2 Rampages.
Yeah, so far so good. Yeah, it's always good to like assemble the combo on like turn 4, and then just, you know, proudly wait until turn 10 to play it. Alright.
Oh, what do you know?
Let's see if you got 2 Earth Shocks. You think that's the only Death Rattle draw card I got?
Oh, Searing Totem actually very bad.
You like playing this?
I would actually call Taskmaster that.
Really? Just take this
So
little guy.
theoretically, if you're thinking about 4 drops, the best out he has is Argus. I'll try to play around it, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
But, unfortunately, you have 2 Rampages, which is quite hard.
Well, who knows? Maybe it gets Argus and bumps in once. No, that's not happening. Well, we got something to swing at with our Fiery War Axe here. You feel like playing War Axe and Thalnos?
Yep. Do not press that hero power button. Do not
Okay.
press it.
Alright, I won't. And, you know, just straight to the dome.
Nah, trading on the board's definitely very strong play here.
God.
You don't want to make him draw cards. I mean, come on now. You gotta draw your own cards.
Yeah, okay. I see where you're going with this.
Surely not so
Oh, son of a bitch.
Man, these guys just don't want you to play the deck, man.
No. Getting that impression.
Damn.
Do we ever swing with the War Axe first before we shield block here? Just for additional battle rage?
I'll actually just shield block and keep your weapon here.
Okay. Alright.
I'll just hero power.
This thing's gonna get hexed, you know.
God. Yeah, surely. He plays Fire Elemental, it's actually so strong. I hope you really enjoy your Pyromancer.
Pyro would be awesome. Alright, Drake, this guy's not so bad, right?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Okay.
I mean, you know, you have to draw your cards someday.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Alright, ooh. Alright, that's getting kind of juicy here. So we got 3, 6, 8 mana next turn. Man.
Yeah, so at this point, so when I'm thinking about this turn, I think you're gonna kill him at around turn 12.
Mm-hmm.
You're most likely going to play it out. I really want to be greedy with the Pyromancer. You do have 2 enrages to technically do a flame strike. So I would just hero power here and hope he's bored.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, we can technically play both Acolytes next turn with the Pyro and the coin, but it doesn't seem like that's really... It's only going to draw... The coin is only going to draw off of one of these Acolytes. Plus, it's kind of scary to leave 2 on the board, because it's, you know, has the possibility of overdrawing us pretty hard.
Oh, Lord.
Oh.
Got blocked by
Hey.
that. Oh, my God. Oh, best totem as well. Unfortunate.
Alright, we're in range for Battle Rage.
Oh, that's actually not too bad.
Yeah. We've got 2, 4, 7 coin inner rage. What do you think here? How greedy do you want to play this?
Hmm. Oh man. Oh, it's so bad.
It's so awkward. We're like one turn behind where we want to be.
I think he actually might use a Rampage here, surprisingly.
On, like, Pyro first?
Yeah, do Pyro.
Okay. And then Acolyte?
Mm-hmm.
And coin?
Coin. Yep. Maybe draw a Whirlwind.
Yeah.
Pyromancer. Oh, I would Rampage Pyromancer.
Okay. And do you want to inner rage the Drake?
No, just hit it. Just hit the Drake. Very awkward turn here.
It is awkward, but we've improved our hand a little bit. We've got something to play next turn with Arcanite Reaper. Oh.
Does he have double Rock Fighter?
That's sort of what I'm thinking. We've seen that hinted at a couple times here.
Well, he did use 2 Earth Shocks against you.
Yeah.
It's actually not too bad.
Yeah, having the War Axe actually sets us up pretty nicely for this.
2 Rock Fighters, huh?
Yeah, that's a lot of damage. It's 16 that's coming our way. That's a good pickup. I don't really want to play Acolyte or Armorsmith on the board without a AoE effect. That sounds reasonable. So maybe War Axe, Shield Block. See what we get.
Yeah.
Shield Block
good.
first.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. There's our Worgen.
I think that you have to Acolyte.
Interesting.
Unfortunately, you have to.
Okay. Are you...
I think he's going to kill you, though, but we'll see what happens. You definitely trade, though.
Okay, I figured. Sort of the setup for this.
If he has double Rock Fighter and a Flame Tongue Totem, I think you're dead.
I swear. No, just helping me not have any fun.
And no fun allowed.
Alright. That's okay, though. Oh, that's kind of annoying.
Technically okay, I don't really...
Yeah, I assume that we're going to play our second Pyro and Slam and whatever else. Alright, Commanding Shout doesn't help us too much. Would you rather play Battle Rage to draw 1 or Commanding Shout to draw 1?
I think you can't even do that. Well, I actually think he has 2 Rock Fighters in his hand, surprisingly.
Yeah, me too.
But even then, if he has that, you're pretty boned.
Yeah, I mean, that's only 16, technically.
I would... Commanding Shout.
Okay.
I want you to draw Whirlwind.
Oh, Pyro is good.
Yeah, wait, did you already use 1 in a rage? You already used 1 Rampage.
Nope.
You used 1 Rampage already.
1 Rampage, but not 1 in a rage.
I can't recall though. I'll play Armorsmith, Pyro. Maybe in a rage or 2. Oh no, just Battle Rage.
Oh!
Oh, damn it! No, 1 Whirlwind is out of the way. Alright, 1 Whirlwind's alright. But, how many cards do you have left?
Got 8 cards left. 1 of those is Inner Rage.
Thunderstorm.
And 1 of those is Charge. Oh. Well, it keeps me alive, so I'm not too worried about that. And no healing totem, so Whirlwind works.
Oh my lord. Where are you
Yikes.
executes, brother? Where are you executes?
Those are buried right next to charge in the bottom 3 lazy cards of this deck. I feel like digging with Cold Light has to be our option here, right?
Yeah, sounds pretty good, yeah.
Okay. Alright, we got a slam.
Oh, that's pretty good. Too bad, not too bad, yeah.
Alright, do we play Armorsmith or try and clear with Whirlwind?
Let's see. How much does that cost? Does that cost 8 mana? Oh, it costs 6 mana. Yeah. Do you Armorsmith and Whirlwind? Oh, wait, do Slam first. Do Slam first.
Yeah.
Slam Totem. And Totem, no!
Oh, wait, hold on, it's okay.
Oh, no, not too bad. No, not too bad. Not too bad. You actually calculated it, okay?
Yeah, okay, so
Oh,
double.
actually, it's not good anyway.
I think double Whirlwind here makes sense, right? We don't have any other uses for Whirlwind anymore.
No.
Yeah, you're into it?
There you go, do it now. You're already committed.
Alright, here we go.
No, I was hoping for you to slam the totem. But,
Yeah, no, slamming the totem makes sense, I guess, but if we don't draw execute, then how do we deal with the Drake?
You drew the execute before the whirlwind.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been known to be kind of a dumbass. I don't know if you've noticed this or kind of just picked up on some of the subtle hints, but it's definitely true.
Oh, come on now, everyone's smart in some way. Come on now.
I do know how to start the game. Oh shit, now I'm really not in a good spot.
Oh my lord. You have a second pyro?
Go fish.
What?
I do not. I do not.
You don't?
I do not.
Yeah.
Reaper though clears the Sen'jin, and Taskmaster clears the Flame Tongue, or because we already played one Rampage, so we don't have 32 exactly. This has got to be the right choice, right?
Yeah, that's definitely a choice.
Okay. And we have to hit this guy. I don't think we can afford to waste our execute on this totem, right?
Nah, you don't need to execute it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
But hitting is definitely okay here.
Yeah, okay.
We still have 2 rock fighters, man. Oh.
Do we ever use Taskmaster here, or are we saving that for Worgen?
How much do you have? You have 26. Oh, you need to draw 2 cards.
Yeah, 2.
I'll definitely I'll execute the totem.
This turn?
Yeah, the Stoneclaw totem.
Boom. I was thinking we could leave the Stoneclaw up because he can't roll a second one while it's alive.
Well...
But if he does, there is this nifty weapon here.
Oh, you're running out of cards, unfortunately.
I'm
What do you
running out of
have? You
cards.
have Rampage, Charge... Oh, not Rampage. You have Charge, Inner Rage, and...
Yeah, charge, enrage, and execute. Oh no, am I about to get punished for not killing the Flame Tongue?
No!
Wait.
16. Not dead yet, but you most likely take him.
Oh, right into the face.
I guess I have to say it fast. I really wanted you to slam the totem.
Yeah. I mean, the totem is worth 4 damage, right? So it's equal to the Drake, and obviously just clearing that is nice. And having charge, I will say charge in the bottom 3 cards in the last 2 matches was, wasn't like the ideal, I think.
Oh, unfortunate.
Alright, well, we've got one more shot at redemption here. I'm pretty sure we can pull this off.
I mean, you still haven't versed the Zoo player yet. Usually that's the most fun.
Yeah. Alright.
Hey, what do you know?
Here we go.
Well, after playing 4 games right now, you should have learned how to play this deck now, right?
I reckon so, yeah. So we keep Arcanite Reaper, and that's it.
What?
You said Loot Hoarder and Thalnos and Murloc.
Yep, so try to aim for your 2 drops.
Okay.
And
Pyro.
If you have Murloc against Zoo, it's actually not too bad. personally, I really like it when I play against two players and they play Murloc.
It's a body,
So,
right? It's at least a 2-2
sorry?
body, gets you to
Oh,
your
it's a 2-2 body,
answers.
yeah. And, you know, they have increased chances to discard their Doom Guard.
So what kind of a clock are we on here? Do we need to trot out this loot hoarder right away, or do we just pass the turn?
I would actually coin the Loot Hoarder this time.
Okay.
You did increase... I'm trying to increase the potential of you drawing your Fiery War Axe here.
Yeah.
But worst case scenario is Mortal Coil or Avalanche.
Mortal Coil would be pretty annoying here. Or Archer. Okay. So now we just trade this in, draw our Fiery War Axe, and we're good, right?
Yeah, well, so far so good. Let's see what happens. See if you draw that Fiery War Axe.
Alright.
Come
Come on. Son of a bitch. We can't really put anything on the board against this, right?
Yeah, we can. Why not?
Because that thing gets up to like 5 attack. Alright.
Who cares?
So what do you think? You want to cycle first? Thalnos makes sense.
I'll play Armorsmith.
Okay, alright. Just setting us up for an abusive sergeant.
That doesn't really matter. I mean, you know, you are going to draw your Whirlwind coming soon. Soon to store near you.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good card.
Yeah, that one is really good. 4 damage for 0. A little bit better than Eviscerate, just kind of mana cost wise.
Hey, would you look at that?
Hey.
You have that card.
Okay, cool. I'm a fan of playing the Murloc here. Are you?
Oh yeah, I'm a very big fan.
Okay, cool. Yeah, this little guy. I love his battle cry. Sounds
yeah.
kind of like me.
So you just oh man. I'm the biggest Murloc here. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Come on,
Didn't
now.
mean to question your Murlocness.
You can't outrank me. Alright, what are you going to do? You got a lot of options here. You have a lot of options.
Yeah, this one's tough because I really want to save this Whirlwind for the Acolyte or to play with Thalnos. Developing the weapon seems like the most natural choice to take this guy down. Wait for...
What do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Well, obviously I want to play the Murloc, but if this were me playing any other deck, I would put the War Axe on and swing face and start racing, but I get the feeling this ain't that kind of girl, so...
Playing the Acolyte here is actually not too bad.
I suppose, one benefit of it is that Knife Juggler into Acolyte isn't great, right?
Yeah, and also the fact that this Whirlwind's basically saving you 5 HP.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a very good card. Very, very good.
Yeah, it's going to help us contest. Wild Pyro would be really nice to have here, actually.
Yeah, surely you're going to draw that card very soon.
Oh,
surely.
hell. Okay, well, at least we got a draw off it. Sure.
Someone's drawing.
Alright, well, we're getting a little bit low here, but we have some tools left, right? Perfect Juggles.
That's a very good card.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Well, I feel like we got to draw with this Acolyte first, right? So I feel like bumping in...
No. You can just use... I think Axe is okay.
Is there any harm in having the Acolyte attack first, see what we get, and then we got the Axe for this, the Taskmaster for that?
I would actually Rampage the Acolyte, yeah.
Whoa, that's badass. Okay, so who does he hit when we do that? The 2-2, I assume?
Yeah, the 2-2.
Okay, cool.
Oh god, it's a bad draw.
Yeah.
I would actually... oh, this is so confusing. I would actually cruel Taskmaster 2-1.
Okay. Interesting.
Oh, actually. Oh, it's stop. Oh my god.
I didn't play it.
Slam the Knife Juggler and, slam. Use your axe and enrage the leper.
Hell yeah.
Yep,
Alright. Did it! Alright. We're down to 12 HP. Nothing can go wrong.
And nothing can go wrong here.
Just a lonely defender of Argus on the board. Okay,
Oh,
that makes me a
God.
little nervous now. That can't be. Oh, okay.
Is he gonna soulfire your face? That's not too bad.
All right.
Oh, that's not too bad. Surely you're gonna draw execute this time.
Yeah, it's just I'll probably draw charge first.
Oh my lord almighty.
Okay. Slam
Things
first.
are tricky here. Things are tricky. Personally, you possibly draw. Also, Taskmaster the Acolyte.
Okay. Back to work.
Surely nothing wrong's gonna happen, right?
No. We got Pyro. Okay. Commanding Shout.
I'll actually trade into the Doom Guard and slam the Argus.
Okay.
Yep. And slam the Argus.
Oh my god, it's beautiful.
Look
Look
at
at that. Wow. A full clear. Right into Soulfire.
Oh yeah, surely they don't have that. He's only got 2 outs to kill you. Winning is not really a priority. Yeah.
Do we go face with this?
No.
Okay, because we got like a lot of weapons in our hand, but you know we can also just assume those are kind of dead cards too. So
surely he's not going to kill you.
No. That would require Soulfire or Doomguard or one of those cards. Oh.
Oh my lord.
Oh. We're dodging it.
You have like good cards. What do you want to do?
I mean.
Come on, now is basically like the winning moments, alright? You just gonna screw him over.
Rocky.
How can you do it correct?
I mean, I want to play Battle Rage at some point this turn, but I also want to play Shield Block and Commanding
so
Shout.
how do you make it so that you can play that?
I think we got to play Commanding Shout first, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense? Okay.
Yeah, sounds pretty good.
Okay, we'll give it a shot.
So you might overdraw.
How about this guy? I think we have to, right? We have to stay out of lethal.
Very good. Okay.
Oh, hell, why not, right?
Nah, better not do it.
You don't think so?
Nah.
You just want to trade it?
Yeah, it's fine. You're not gonna lose anything, right?
Okay, but
You're
what
most
about?
likely to kill him next turn anyway.
Does the hero power thing apply to this turn, where we don't want a hero power, or should we play Thalnos?
Yeah, just hero power. You can PM in here.
Sure.
Just hero power.
It seems like one might say we hold all of the cards.
Oh yeah. Sorry, man. Your Yu-Gi-Oh turn's happening soon.
Yeah.
I mean, how's he gonna kill you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just do some efficient trades.
Wow, we went down to 3 health. We still don't have the Worgen, right? Do we?
Nope. So you can't kill him yet. So what do you want to do?
Well, I'd like to draw that damn Worgen, but we can't play Battle Rage.
No, you can play Battle Rage. You just have to do something else.
Well, yeah, exactly. In order to do that...
Personally, I would trade with the Pyro.
And then play Battle Rage?
No.
Yeah, we can't do it right now. Do you think... I mean, we can even swing in here, right?
No, you don't have to be scared. I'll just play Acolyte.
What about,
what? You can Battle Rage if you want.
Sure. I do want to. I love that card. Alright, there we go.
There we go.
That's what we like to see.
Apparently you might overdraw your Worgen. you can Whirlwind here if you want. Whirlwind's okay here.
Whirlwind just cycles a card though, right?
Yeah, but you did get armor, so...
Okay, yeah, and we drew the war. You're right, we would have overdrawn next turn anyway.
Shame. Well, technically you still can overdraw.
Well, we got charge already. Somehow that wasn't in the bottom 3 this time. So we've got at least enough to do something. Rampage is still missing. I'm surprised, I gotta say, the versatility of this Rampage card is really growing on me.
You know the drill.
Oh, wow. This is so cool. Wait, we don't have a... Oh, we don't need a Rampage. We don't need one of those at all.
Oh my god.
Holy... Oh my god. You're gonna get an Oscar for this performance. Wow. I gotta say, that was a really close match. That was like... Yeah, by the skin of our teeth. But I see what you're saying. Like, they just... even with a kind of awkward hand, they eventually just run out of stuff like Sue does, but we have so much insurance there, so many cards in hand. Really hard for us to lose.
But yeah, generally if you get a Pyro, it's it's very very good card against the...
Yeah, wow.
Very good.
Yeah, I gotta say that a little unexpected. There's so many choices that we have to make with this deck every turn. I'm starting to get the idea that a lot of times we almost always want to play any card draw that we can in a turn, unless there's like a really important threat on the board. But it seems like we're always erring on the side of like trotting out Cold Light as soon as possible, or finding any way that we can to draw rather than just deal with the board and wait for our one next card next turn. Does that sound right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if you I know that it's one of the hardest things about playing the Murloc is, generally you hope that you want to draw the right cards, but it's kind of one of those things that you have to do.
Right.
I mean, if you didn't play that Murloc, I think you would have just drawn dead, unfortunately. But
yeah,
I think it just helped a lot. We just gave you the answers, and makes you smash face.
Yeah, I mean, 2 cards is nothing to balk at either. 3 mana, 2 cards, and a body on the board. Like, really, really useful card. And again, we didn't really have situations in which we were worried about our opponents playing all of those cards from hand or drawing answers to whatever we had, except for that damn Ysera Innervate Sun Fury, which I don't even want to talk about that one.
Yeah, who would do such a thing, huh?
Yeah,
who would do such
that's just... Yeah, I don't think that should be allowed. They should probably nerf Ysera. Or Innervate. I don't know which one is the stronger card. Okay, so that was a lot of fun. I really appreciate you walking me through that deck. I learned a lot. It's we've done a couple of these spotlights already on decks that I kind of have played a lot of, and this one I have not played like at all. So this was an intense learning experience for me. I really appreciate your guidance there on helping me understand and helping all of our viewers understand it as well. That was really special.
I'm not guiding anything, man. You're playing the whole thing yourself.
Well, technically I have my hand on the mouse, but I wouldn't say that I was really making all of the decisions there, or not at least the good ones, or the reasonable ones. But yeah, it was a pleasure to have you on. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, Thach. For those of you that are watching, Thach's got a Twitch channel that we'll put the link to in the video description, so you all can check that out. Once again, as I said in the introduction, it is probably the most entertaining place for classic Hearthstone online. Absolutely love watching the cooking shows and stuff that you have going while you...
that's actually me.
It's what makes it for me, because if I don't understand what's happening in the game, I can always just look at the person making like cool cocktails or cool coffee drinks and be like, okay, yeah, this is fun. But yeah, Thach, thanks once again for coming on. Really appreciate it, and to everybody that was watching tonight. These videos will be available on YouTube and on Twitch. If you wanted to rewatch them, send them to your friends, whatever. Otherwise, we'll be taking off for tonight. So once again, thanks everybody. Really appreciate everybody for tuning in.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much. Any shout-outs that you want to give before you take off?
Nah, they don't deserve the shout-outs, man.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, they gotta earn it.
Ooh, yeah, okay.
Alright, cool.